All right, everyone, welcome to the Ventures Podcast. I'm continuing my product and code series here across Web 2 and Web 3 product and code things here in 2023. And today I'm going to be walking through ChatGPT, specifically to train ChatGPT to help me build a startup called Text to Startup. I prompt it here by saying, hey, ChatGPT, we're going to build a new startup called Text to Startup. I'd like you to help me do this soup to nuts. The idea would be to assist people building startups, to help them do so with ChatGPT or Generative AI. It kind of gets the idea here. So I'm going to walk through that, and this is going to go all the way through product things and some code things. And if you're listening to this on your podcast player, this is also a screencast, so you can just click the link in the show notes, and you should be able to jump over to watch this. And if you're watching at any point, of course, like always, you can just switch over to a podcast by searching for Ventures in your favorite podcast player, and it should show up. So, okay, so I'm just using the free version of ChatGPT here. Actually, I tried to upgrade for this podcast, but it said it was too busy, and they're not taking upgrades right now. So, okay, we'll use the GPT 3.5 for this, which is fine. It's directionally similar to things I'm seeing on Twitter and other places for what people are experiencing with GPT-4, although with the GPT-4 there are the different plugins and different interfaces and things. So maybe in a future podcast or screencast here I will show what that looks like. But I wanted to capture this actually with the GPT, the 3.5 version. If anything, just for history, because this is going to keep getting better and better and better. So I just wanted to record this so we have this in this period of time here. I'm recording this on April 4th, 2023. So anyway, I'm training GPT here it's going to help me. It's going to help me build this new startup called Text to Startup. And it's essentially something that's going to train people to build startups using AI assistance. So it first answers it here by giving me sort of a general, hey, get your idea, business plan, secure funding, et cetera, et cetera. Wasn't super interested in that, so I just asked it, hey, help me flesh out this idea. What could we do to better define it? And again, it gave me more information about genuinely how to do ideation and business plan generation, et cetera, et cetera. But there was a key point in here where it said that ChatGPT can be programmed to serve as a chatbot that guides users. So I said, okay, what do you mean that ChatGPT can be programmed? Can you help me with this? So then it gave me a bunch of response for specifically how you would design it and how you would train a model for feeding it information in order to be trained against. And obviously lots of people are doing this today, but it trained against the data associated with your startup things. But I wanted more here. I said, can you write this application in Ruby on Rails and tell me the code? So I'm skipping straight to the like, hey, how much can at least this free version of ChatGPT help me with? And it said, certainly I can help you write this. And it goes all the way to here. If you look on the screen, it says Rails new text to startup. Database PostgreSQL, like it, and I've been writing Rails apps for almost 20 years now, so I kind of know how to do this. But this would even be a tutorial for how you would go about creating this chatbot and chat controller here. And if you've been following along with the product and code series, I've actually walked through what a model, what a controller, what a view is, so you'd have a general idea of what this is here, including a chatbot service. And then it stops by basically saying, okay, here's where you would implement the logic for your chatbot. Anyway, so I dive in even further and I say, hey, regarding this could involve conducting market research and identifying gaps. What would we do here specifically? And then it gave me a general answer about how to define market research. But I wanted to be more insistent. So I said, all right, using these online tools to gather feedback, what tools would you recommend? And then it recommended SurveyMonkey, Google Forms, Typeform, user testing, and Hotjar. And user testing caught my eye here. It said it allows you to gather feedback on your website or app and having real users test it out and provide feedback. Then I asked it, okay, tell me more about user testing. And then it said, all right, it gave me some information about user testing. I don't know how. Now, it's known to make stuff up, so this may be just made up things, and I didn't bother going to the actual user testing website. but it said, here's user testing. It costs $49 per participant, but there's a free plan. Here that allows you to conduct one user test with up to 5 participants. Sounds pretty interesting. So anyway, I'll let you follow up on that one, because it's definitely, there's a lot of different pieces to starting a startup. And if I were to have a service here, this would be a sort of, I'm going pretty meta, but I would have the service walk somebody through in terms of what to do to pull this off. So then I asked it, can you design me a logo? And it said, I can't design the logo, but here's some principles, make it unique and simple and all that stuff. So then I said, can you provide me a prompt to generate a logo? And so it just made it up. It said, create a logo for text to startup that incorporates a stylized speech bubble, the letters TTS in bold, modern font, use a color scheme, etc., etc. And then I asked it, what service should I put the prompt in? So it said I could use Taylor Brands or Looka or Design Hill or Canva. So I said, all right, let's go ahead and go over to Taylor Brands. I entered the prompt here in terms of, okay, we're going to do a startup called Text to Startup. And it gave me a bunch of different logo ideas here. And there's a bunch of these. I use Looka for this, for some other stuff. So there's a bunch of services now that are like this, where you could just put in your name and a tagline. In fact, I asked ChatGPT, what's a good tagline for this? And it said, oh, your words, your experience, transforming your ideas, blah, blah, blah. And then I asked it for 10 more taglines. It gave me 10 more taglines. So I pulled one of those out. And then this is cool. I pulled one of those out and I put it in the service. And then it asked me, Taylor Brands asked me for a 1-paragraph description. So I went ahead and just asked ChatGPT, give me the 1-paragraph description. And it said, here we go. Text to Startup is an AI-powered platform that helps aspiring entrepreneurs turn their ideas into successful startups. Using the latest advancements in generative AI, our platform takes your business ideas and converts them to fully functional prototypes, complete with business plans, financial projections, and marketing strategies. We make it easy for anyone to build a startup, regardless of their technical expertise or business background. Whether you're seasoned or just starting out, you can do it with Text to Startup. You can focus on your vision while the AI does the heavy lifting, giving you more time to grow your business and achieve your goals. So this is I'm actually pretty impressed with that copy write-up, and it incorporates a lot of the things of what would be basically in my mind as we do this tech startup. So anyway, I put that in, and there are lots of different services. If I were to actually crank this out, I would go around a bunch of different of these services and look for the best logo that I like the best. But even something like this, you can see how it designs your business cards and some merch and everything like that. Looka is kind of the same thing as this. And I'll get to that in a second. So anyway, so I said, okay, let's build this on Ruby on Rails. Give me the code step by step. So first, it gave me like a general step by step. And then I'm like, no, seriously, give me the process step by step. And then it gave me the same thing again. And I'm like, no, I want you to give me the actual code. And they're like, hey, I can't actually give you the code, but here's generally what you would do. And then I was even more insistent. I said, no, seriously, give me the code, HTML, CSS, and JavaScript for a landing page for this. And then it said, okay, sure, I can give you the code. So then it gave me HTML. I was like, oh, okay, I can just copy paste this into a simple thing. Gave me CSS, and it kept going, then it stopped. It didn't finish, which I've heard is a thing, because even if you have the pro plan, apparently it just stops on stuff. So then I asked it, can you keep going with the above, starting with the footer? Didn't quite understand what I meant. It gave me the footer and then the footer CSS, which is fine. I probably could have figured it out from there. But like I said, for 2 messages above a go, the CSS was cut off in the footer section. Can you complete that? And then it did understand. So what I was able to do with all this code is I spun up a Rails app very quickly based on what we did on the previous part of this in this product and code series. Created a quick welcome controller, hooked up my root route, copy and pasted into my index.html file, and then copy and pasted in the CSS here in the application.css file. Fired up the Rails server, and then boom, Here's the CSS it generated. Obviously, this is just major scaffold. But you can see how I can then, from here, start iterating the landing page, deploy this, and then use it to actually build the application to help people navigate through the process. So I think it's pretty clear that ChatGPT and these types of generative AIs are going to be a significant value add in the startup world. And so yeah, like always, if you've been playing with this, or if you have tools or recommendations for people in the general text to startup thing, maybe I'll actually turn text to startup as an actual product, or most likely I'll incorporate these types of things into our existing product called Startup Rocket, startuprocket.com. I have a word about that in the last part of the podcast here. But this is generally, I wanted to capture this because, as I mentioned, this is a moment in history where it's very early. I'm sure this will be even better when I upgrade to GPT, the Pro plan, and can do it with GPT-4 and see all the fancy little plugins that they got. But I think this is a fun little snapshot in time, because we'll probably look back on this and say, oh, look how primitive it was. But this is the beginning of a very fascinating season, and I'm glad to be able to share this with you. All right, thanks for watching. Thanks for listening. Have a great rest of your week. All right, a couple quick things before you go. Number one, I have a general newsletter where I write about technology and startups and health science and teaching people to code. And I write about a variety of different subjects that we talk about on this show. So if you go to wclittle.com, there you'll be able to subscribe, and you'll also be able to subscribe to particular topics. If you're just interested in one or a few of them, you'll be notified right when I publish new content in those areas. Number two, my partners and I at Proto Ventures have a portfolio company called Startup Rocket. If you go to startuprocket.com, there you'll be able to receive coaching guides and customize an operations framework for you and your team and your advisors to be on the same page in terms of what is the appropriate next step for you and your entrepreneurial journey. And finally, if you wouldn't mind leaving a review anywhere that you have listened to this podcast or watched this podcast, it'd be super helpful to help those who might be interested in consuming this content as well. Thank you.